There we go. Now we're streaming to YouTube. Let me send this out real quick. Like 30 more seconds. Let everyone know that we're streaming. All right, I think we're just about done. Damn hoodie up, it's hot as shit. All right, guys, I think we are ready. Hello.
Right.
Been a while since we've all talked. How's everybody doing today?
Good.
Yeah, I know
Good,
you're.
man, a little sick.
Yeah, so yeah, everyone's sick. You're sick, Stud's sick. What the hell's with everybody?
I got a bad cough.
Nah,
I got a kid.
Okay, yeah, you got an excuse. Yep, hello YouTube, this is Venom with Exiled Existence. Today we have got Impelli, also with Exiled Existence, and Dash Dude, our little brosive, who, I don't even know what the hell your name of your clan is, but he's a buddy of ours, so he's here with us today too. With any luck, Still will be getting on too. He's also sick. You guys are all fucking terrible. But welcome to our first podcast, guys. Yeah, exciting. I've been trying to put out videos every week. It's been tough. It's been kind of hard trying to figure out if I want to do gameplay videos or news videos, but with all the news and stuff going on, I figured, you know what, it's probably better to go ahead and start doing at least a podcast every week to go over everything going on in gaming news. So, well, let's go ahead and hop right into it. So, what all have you guys heard about gaming here lately? What all news have you guys been privy to, I should say?
I'm gonna tell you right now, not much. I've been unfortunately busy doing a lot of other stuff, but I've been playing Call of Duty myself, just reverting back to the World War II, which has been fun.
Hey there, gaming boy.
Was a little disappointed with Destiny. I haven't touched it in a few weeks here. I don't know if anything with that, but nothing wrong with the COD thing. I know there's some issue with EA and the in-game purchases, but I didn't really read up on that yet. I figured you would have all that information, so I'll just react to it.
Oh yeah, boy, I got info for you. Yeah, gaming boy, smoke. Don't do it. Smoke is bad for you. It's terrible.
Yeah,
don't
I
do
tell
it.
them all the time. Smoking's horrible.
But yeah, okay. So first off, before we even get into it, Dash, I know you're actually playing Battlefront 2. Before I even give my opinion, I want to hear what do you think of the game so far? And the game's officially released now, right? I know they have like their early access thing. Has it been officially released now? Or is it still like in the early thing?
It's an official release. Okay,
so what do you think of the game so far? Without me giving my opinion, what do you think of the gameplay and the actual progression, and everything so far?
Let's start out with the story first. The story, I think, was probably my favorite part.
And by the way, make sure you say spoilers in case we have any spoilers. We don't want to ruin anything for anybody.
Yeah. I feel like I like the characters a lot. Like, they kind of bonded with each other in a way, which they didn't really have any campaign in the last game, which was kind of a letdown whenever I got it. All they had was arcade and the multiplayer, and that was it.
Arcade,
so I feel like
the arcade is like is a campaign basically.
Yeah, it was basically the campaign of the last game.
Okay.
Careful out there.
Wait, the last game?
Yeah,
I played the
Battlefront
last
1.
So it's Battlefront 1's campaign, or it's just what the campaign is?
No, the Battlefront 2 campaign.
Okay.
There was no campaign at all in the first game.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And so, like, there was not as much content.
But we all make our own choices.
So not as much as the last one. Okay, that's interesting.
We are opening our
All right, so
I feel like there's a lot more maps in this game, which actually are really big. compared to the last game where the maps were really small. I like the Galactic Assault, which is the Endor and all that. So they also add more heroes. The gameplay, it's more team-based now. So I feel like they also set that up as well. I don't like that they added like there's this thing where you can like buy these cards or you can buy the money for the cards, but you have to level up first. But you buy these cards, right? And then it's basically like a pay-to-win system where if you buy them, that means you'll probably be a lot better than most people at the start of the game for a very long time.
Okay.
Which is one of my dislikes. Let's see. I like that they added like the droids and all that, and the clone troopers, which is pretty nice since they're going for sort of like the history of the Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
So they have like these maps, the new maps, the droids, of course, the clone troopers. Then you got new heroes like Darth Maul, Yoda. And I hear that they're going to be adding more characters as well.
Okay.
I think I heard like General Grievous, I believe.
No, Grievous. Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah. So I've been playing this game for at least a full day. I played the beta as well, and I like the beta, but there was a problem. I saw a problem with the star card system again, like in last game, which I was kind of worried about.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you gotten anything unlocked so far, like any of the other heroes, or how's that been going for you?
No. I've just completed the campaign. I'm doing multiplayer now. I've been playing for like an hour or two. So I've got some impressions on that. These maps are actually really, really beautiful. I really like these maps. They're so good.
You running into any bugs or anything? Because I heard there was a few bugs from Jim Sterling.
Not so far. Not really, no.
Okay. I haven't heard too much about bugs except from him, so I don't know how prevalent that might be. I did hear it was a little buggy, but again, I haven't played the game, so I can't make too many judgments on it. But trying to think. So right now, are you in the middle of a match right now?
Yes.
Okay, so whenever you get out, I want to see how much the heroes and stuff cost right now, because I know there were some issues going into it.
I already know.
Okay, so about how much? Because everything costs credits right now. Because I know they said they disabled the in-app or the in-game purchases right now. Correct? You can't buy crystals.
Yeah. The cost of the heroes vary. Like, say you have the main character of the story. She's like 5,000.
5,000. Okay. What are the most expensive? Those are Luke and Darth Vader. Are the most expensive, aren't they?
Yeah. Those are 15,000. Those are the highest.
Okay.
And then the Palpatine, for example, is 10,000. So it's probably gonna be a lot of grinding, but in the end, it's kind of worth it for me. I kind of like the grind. That's why I like Destiny. I was kind of a grinding person. I do the raids and all that, so.
Yeah, I definitely don't mind grinds. I mean, it's what I do too. But okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit right into controversy. So basically, I know you guys haven't paid too much into it. Basically, the whole controversy, and it's not just with Battlefront 2. It's actually a fear I have for Anthem coming out, and it's been a big deal with a lot of games. I know you played some PUBG there for a little bit, Pelly. Loot boxes have been a huge problem as far as AAA titles goes, especially microtransactions and stuff. When the Battlefront beta came out, and keep in mind I've been keeping up with it, a lot of stuff's changed, so if I get anything wrong, please forgive me, or if you guys know anything that I may have missed, say so. But basically the initial, I guess, test or reveal, the heroes cost a certain amount. I think it was 10,000 at the time. They ended up changing it upon beta and on release. Basically, the heroes kept changing their prices. The star card system essentially was pay to win, at least temporarily. And by temporarily, we're talking hundreds of hours jump ahead of people type temporarily. Essentially, the game was pay to win. People weren't too happy about it. Have you guys actually heard about the now famous Reddit post from EA, their little AMA that they had?
I don't think
I heard about it, but I didn't read it.
Basically, I think it was 3 other developers or 3 people on the team actually got on Reddit and they wanted to address some of the questions that the community had about Battlefront 2. It went extremely poorly. In fact, it literally... Hold on, I just did something weird. There we go. I'll turn out my headphones. Their response became literally the highest downvoted response in Reddit history by like a large margin. I think it was something like negative 690,000 points at last count. So essentially their whole thing was the AAA developers keep saying that games cost so much to make now. The only way they can really monetize them is by putting, microtransactions in games like loot boxes and microtransactions. And I'm going to say now, I'm not against the idea of microtransactions, depending on how it's done and in what kind of game they are. Like Warframe. I know, Pelly, I play a lot of Warframe on PC. I've been playing it for about 2.5 years now. I don't quite remember. My wife and I started playing it a while ago, met some friends there. I can say with no shame, I've dropped about $200 on that game, at least. And we all know it's a free-to-play game. It's done really well. It's evolved a lot over the years. They've got a ton of characters, a lot of stuff to do in the game. I still don't like that a lot of it's not explained too well, but I've been playing long enough, I know how it all works. But that's a free-to-play game. And the big issue that we're having right now is that AAA titles have essentially gotten a taste of monetizing their games with loot boxes and microtransactions, and now they don't want to give it up. And it got bad enough to where now Battlefront 2 put in loot boxes into the game, and everyone's big thing is they don't mind loot boxes if it's cosmetic. I think Overwatch is a really popular game for loot boxes. There's entire channels dedicated just to loot box openings. And it's all cosmetic as of so far. Well, Battlefront and another game I'm trying to think of, but it's, Destiny in a way, essentially put power stuff, like progression stuff beyond their loot boxes now too. And it's not just like you can buy new characters or anything or new weapons like in Warframe, which again, they do really well. They've got a really good balance in how they do it. But like with Battlefront 2, how Dash was just saying, there's actual power locked behind the cards. It is an extremely long grind. I think someone said it would take like, and I'm going to need to put all the links in the description for this, it would take 40 hours to unlock a hero without buying anything, grinding through it. That's without buying any crystals, and that's literally just going towards trying to get, I think at the time Luke and Vader cost 6,000 when this came out. 40 hours grinding just for one of those 2 characters, and they were 60,000 at the time. That's not opening up any other loot boxes or anything else. Star cards were a huge thing, still are apparently. Essentially giving a huge advantage to players who actually pay for stuff in the game versus actually playing the game. It gave them a huge advantage. They got the heroes, they got the star cards. The progression was essentially locked behind payment. And what made it worse was that additional payment wasn't just in, okay, you can straight up buy these cards. It was in the form of loot boxes. So no matter what, you had no idea where you're going to get out of loot boxes. And of course, there's duplicates in them. So that's what the whole controversy was about. And still is, actually. I don't know if you guys know, this was actually recent, but the Belgium government, I believe, has actually started, or they said they were going to begin, a investigation into the game, because essentially it's coming off as online gambling. Now, the problem with this is that PEGI, the rating system, I think it's for Europe, and the ESRB won't qualify game loot boxes as gambling, because no matter what, you get something out of the loot box, even if it's a duplicate or something that's worth essentially nothing. So that's kind of a quick overview on what the problem is right now. Basically, they're claiming that they have to do loot boxes and microtransactions to pay for their games, which is complete bullshit. And what it is they're making a ton of money off of it, and they just don't want to give it up. I'm blocking my face. And they've literally just kind of eked by not being qualified as gambling, because no matter what, you get something out of the loot box, even if it's something you already have, and even if it's something that is worth essentially nothing. Which is weird, because Pokemon actually had to take their loot corners out of the games. Otherwise, they would have to change the rating in Europe or take them out just for Europe because Peggy rated them as gambling, even though you don't actually use any real-life money to do the gambling corners in Pokemon. I don't know if you guys play Pokemon. I did when I was a kid and late 20s. But, I mean, they had to pull gambling corners out of Pokemon, and you don't buy stuff with real money in it. It's, you know, just stuff in the game, you know, the money you get in the game. They had to remove them for that. CSGO had a big scandal because you could essentially sell skins for real money, and, of course, a bunch of gambling sites popped up for them. So there was a big hubbub about that. But somehow, games like Battlefront and even Destiny 2, because whether the mods suck or not, you can still get mods out of the Bright Ingrams. They've just kind of each buy in this gray area because no matter what, you get something out of the crates. So it's actually gotten bad enough now to where on official launch, excuse me, and that's why I asked Dash this when we started, if they had actually disabled the purchase system. It actually got so bad, and all this has been received so poorly by the community that they actually had to take out loot boxes for the official launch. So that's basically what's going on right now. Basically, game developers are getting extremely fucking greedy. The community doesn't like it, and it's gotten bad enough now to where the community is like, fuck you, we don't want this anymore, go kick rocks.
Yeah, I don't really feel like that the games take too much money to make. It's that they're getting really greedy, and they're just putting more extra to get more cash, you know?
Yeah, essentially, that's what is going on here. I mean, yeah, games are more expensive to make nowadays, but if you make a good game, then you're going to make your money back, or at least make some money. The problem is that when you make a game, if it sucks, then yeah, you're not going to make your damn money back. And that's a huge problem right now. And it's not that these games take so much money to make, it's that they have just gotten a taste of, like, Overwatch's success, say, with the loot box system that they have. They want a piece of that money, and now these developers don't want to give it up. Same thing with, like, microtransactions, same thing with pre-orders, that whole extra monetization. They don't want to give the stuff up now that they have a taste of it. And it's getting to the point now to where essentially what they're doing is they're following the free-to-play model and the online, or like the free-to-play mobile game model, but they're still charging $60 for the games. See, I wouldn't have a problem with loot boxes or any of this stuff if they weren't actually charging $60 for the games as well. But not only are they charging $60 for the games, they're also charging for, like with Destiny 2, there's a season pass that came with it. Pelly, I know you know for the company, I got us all a copy of it. We got the freaking digital deluxe copy that came with, you know, the extra weapons, the season passes. It was pre-ordered, and honestly, if I could take it back, I might, just because there's a lot of issues with the game, but we're getting into some of the issues with Destiny 2 too. But this whole culture of squeeze every single bit of money you can out of a game is becoming hazardous to the gaming community.
Oh, yes.
Like, we're getting to the point now to where Destiny had, what, like fucking 5 or 6 different editions of the game even before it came out. There's season passes for it now. People are making excuses. And, I mean, don't get me wrong. I think everybody else in the clan was probably the most excited for Destiny 2. And it came out, and, I mean, after like a week, I was like, I can't, even though I spent money, and we spent money in the company for this game, I can't really defend what they shipped out here. I mean, there's so much missing from the game. You can't really say that 3 years, or you can't really say that, hey, the game just released, give it time to be fixed. No, they had 3 years to fix the system and to modify it. This is all stuff that should have been in the system from the get-go. I mean, again, basic stuff like, and this is something I harped on before in the Destiny rant video, but I mean, not having vendors, I mean, having shitty gear. I mean, Destiny's now locked stuff behind a paywall that we had for free before. I mean, we can't fucking reuse our shaders now. Everyone's getting all excited like, oh, there's all these changes coming to all these systems and all this is going to happen, and okay, that's great. What about the original stuff we were pissed off about to begin with? Can we reuse our shaders yet? Something that basic I don't really care what they do until we get like this basic shit fix. I'm not really excited about anything they have to do. I mean, someone wanted me to watch the Curse of Osiris trailer the other day. I watched it, but I'm like, no matter what they bring out with this, unless they fixed all the basic issues, I don't care what other crap they pile on top of it, 'cause that's what it is.
Yeah.
Now, what I liked about the first Destiny was the raids. The raids were probably like the best thing about the game, honestly. And in this game, it kind of let me down, like, so much.
I'm not sure what it is about the raid that kind of pissed me off too. I mean, yeah, it was different from most of the other raids we've done because it was really only one boss fight and a bunch of puzzles. I don't mind that. I like how they were done.
Yeah.
But I hate the way they implemented the gear system. I mean, if we're opening chests, you should be getting a piece of gear, even if it's one that you've got already. I mean, standard MMO practices, there's going to be gear in that chest. And whether people like it or not, Destiny is an MMO. It may not be an RPG, it may not have dedicated servers, but there's no rule saying a game has to have its own servers to be an MMO. It's a massively multiplayer online game. And you should have gear in your chest if you finish a raid. Instead, we're getting tokens, and we're getting, like, paltry amounts of glimmer. What is it? We're getting, like, 50 glimmer out of a chest? What sense does that make? I mean, you finish a boss, you're supposed to get gear, and then they essentially lock the gear behind more RNG, so that we're getting, like, the same possible crap every week, or they're only releasing, like, one special weapon or one special gear piece every week, and if you don't get it, you're screwed. Same thing I hated about the freaking... Like, I know they had another faction rally here. I didn't participate in this faction rally just because of the fact I just couldn't buy the pieces of gear that I wanted.
I don't even know about it. That's a bad thing.
Yeah, I didn't know about it because, I mean, even if it came out, I didn't care because I knew I couldn't buy the pieces of gear I wanted, which is what we should have been able to do all along. It shouldn't be tied behind RNG. It shouldn't be tied behind loot boxes. And then what's even worse, and this is something else that came out with Battlefront, and you got to let me know if they fixed this or not too, Dash. I think there's two moments that made me really hate Destiny 2, and I'm only playing it right now just because of the fact that I need something to play right now while we're doing the podcast. Yeah. That I want to go ahead and pick up the Hard Light, which is tainted for me now because I wanted to get it through an Ingram. Now everyone's going to be playing with the damn thing, and I can't care about it anymore. I should have had it after 100 exotic Ingrams, but I didn't, but whatever. Something that, one moment was when I open up, like, Ingram number 100, and I got another Akaram's Grasp. I mean, that pissed me off, getting a piece of gear that I've gotten 10 times already, but I literally couldn't get the 2 weapons I wanted from the get-go, and they were the only 2 weapons that I didn't get out of the exotics. That's not just fucking bad luck, that's a shitty system. But when they did the first faction rally, I was like, okay, faction rally's coming out, I can at least start building up my freaking Dead Orbit gear. And I come to find out that, one, it's behind loot boxes, which they didn't have to pay for. We just grind tokens. So I'm like, okay, I can just grind out all weekend, open up 100 loot boxes, and get all the gear I want. Come to find out, you can only open up 30 boxes. And that's the point I think did it for me. And I was like, you know what? Fuck this game. What kind of game penalizes you for playing more?
I don't know, man.
Destiny 2.
Yeah, and that's what I want to ask you. Did they put a cooldown, or is that cooldown still on the campaign for Battlefront?
Let's just say that I have more tractor cannons than I should have in my vault.
Yeah, so Dash, right now, you said you did the campaign already, right?
Yeah.
Is there a cooldown on how many times you can do the campaign?
You can do it as many times as you want. Let's see, you can restart, you can choose the level that you want to go on, and like Destiny 2, you have to, I think, start all the way over.
Okay, did they fix to where they... Because before they did their first release, there was a timer on how many times you could do the campaign, or I guess there was like a 3-hour cooldown on doing the campaign again, so that people couldn't, quote-unquote, abuse the campaign to get credits while they were offline. So
There's really... I don't think there is. The only way, you can't really redo the same challenges or the milestones to get more, once you do them, but basically once you do the milestone, it's completed, you can't get any more from it.
Okay, but do you get any kind of credits at all from finishing the campaign? Like just doing it all over again? Okay. Because that's
it depends on like if you have nothing completed and then you complete it, then yeah, you'll get some credits.
Because that was something else that pissed off everybody. They had actually set the campaign up to where there was a cooldown timer on it, kind of like mobile games have a timer before you can do other stuff on them. They set it up like that so that people couldn't farm credits offline. You had to go online, or of course what they wanted you to do was buy loot crates to get credits or to get what you wanted. But they set it up to where people couldn't just farm offline to get their shit either. They set it up to where you were more and more enticed to buy shit. That's what pissed me off about the Destiny 2 first faction rally, is that they put a cap on how much stuff I could get. What's the point of putting a cap in? I mean, I don't get what the point is on putting a cap on how much stuff I can get in a game like this. Are they worried that I would have some kind of advantage over other players? Because if that be the case, well, that's the point of gear in Destiny, is to have an advantage in stuff. If I put in the time and the work for it, yeah, that's what advantage should be there. If you put in all the time and work, you should have advantage over other players that only play like an hour a week. Someone who puts in 100 hours in a weekend, they should definitely, or 100 hours in a week, they should definitely have better stuff than somebody who doesn't.
Yeah, I feel like in Battlefront 2, you should be able to have to earn your cards or your loot boxes.
Well, and I guess originally the whole loot box thing, I guess there was no progression whatsoever originally as far as star cards outside of the loot boxes. It was completely tied to RNG.
Right. But not only... You can earn them in this game, right? But you can also pay for them. Which means people can just buy tons of freaking loot boxes and then get into a multiplayer match and just be on the top of the leaderboard. Like,
let's see if Stud's on it real quick. Don't think so. No, he's not. I'm not expecting him really to get on. Yeah, and that was, I mean, it's a pay to win mechanic. That's all it is. It's pay to win. And that's pissed off me, everybody else. And here's the fear I got too. Anthem is another EA game, I believe. So the big worry is, I mean, that is a perfect game to stick loot boxes in. All these companies are saying that going forward, all these big AAA companies, they want to put microtransactions in everything. So here I was excited about Anthem, and come to find out, they want to put loot boxes in them. I tried last week to find a definitive answer if Anthem was going to have loot boxes or microtransactions. I couldn't find anything. I'm just going to go ahead and assume that they're going to have loot boxes or microtransactions in there, which means I am not going to buy the game. And I've made a pretty hard stance now. Destiny 2 is the last game, and even its microtransactions are mostly cosmetic. We can make a debate on the mods that you get in there because they're really kind of crap, but it's mostly cosmetic. I'm going to go out and say that's the last game I buy or support that has any kind of loot box or microtransaction in it unless it's some kind of free-to-play game. Warframe is fine. It's free-to-play. You can get you can actually get more stuff in-game playing than you can actually buy, and you can actually make and trade all the items between players. Well, most of the items between players, and trade people for the in-game currency. So you can never spend a dime on that game and be top tier. And even if you were to buy everything in the game, you still wouldn't have any more real power than somebody who actually played the game. Because you still got to actually go through, know what you're doing. You still got to actually build up stuff. You can't really buy any mods, so you still got to go get them. You got to buy them from people. You got to trade for them. Basically, you don't really get more of an advantage than anybody. And all the frames, for the most part, are balanced. And no one really cares about PvP anyway, so none of that really matters. But they did it in a decent way, in a non-scummy way. And there's no RNG, for the most part, when you buy stuff. I mean, I can't think of any RNG in any of their pay stuff. I mean, they have mod boxes, but nobody ever buys them. It's literally a waste, and if you buy them, you're a retard. But it is what it is. That essentially, it's an option there that nobody even remembers is there.
Alright, so now we can play a game that has microtransactions in it. We're not saying that, like, if it has microtransactions, we're not going to play that game, we're not going to buy it. It really depends on how the microtransactions are built into the game and how it affects the multiplayer, how it affects how you play in the multiplayer, how overpowered you are. It really depends on that. So
I'd go so far as to say I'd agree again, it depends on microtransactions. If it's a $60 game and they have any kind of loot box, I'm not buying it. That's going to be period for me. If there's any kind of loot box on a $60 game, I'm not going to buy the game. If there's microtransactions, it's really going to depend. And even then, on a $60 game, I shouldn't have to pay for any cosmetics or anything else. That's what still pisses me off about Destiny, is that we've got to buy shaders to reuse. That was something that was free before, and now they've taken that away from us and they're making us pay for it. And on top of paying for it, we can't reuse them. It's a one-time fucking use shit. It's the same shit that fucking DexX pulled with the fucking single-use multi or microtransactions like weapons and shit. I don't like it, and I cannot rightfully support that. But as far as games in general, like, again, I'll play Warframe all day long. I mean, I'm going to keep going back to that game always. But it really depends. I mean, I'm all fine with... If I knew, for example, that something would stay cosmetic only, I probably wouldn't mind it. But that whole cosmetic argument is how we got to the point where Battlefront 2 was pay to win. Because everything started off cosmetic. It started off with games that done it before. Overwatch is the one that really pushed it overboard as far as the loot box shit. And everyone's argument is always, it's only cosmetic, it's only cosmetic. Well, it may be cosmetic, but it's still in the game that I paid $60 for. So what you've done is sold me a game and not giving me everything in the game. You're telling me I've got to pay more money to get more stuff in the game. I don't think I'm also going to be doing any kind of fucking pre-order stuff either, because I kind of have to be consistent. If there's a pre-order bonus as far as items in the game and weapons, again, Destiny 2 is the last one I'm ever doing that on. If it's in the game, I shouldn't have to pay another $20 for a weapon that, let's be honest, we all know 5 hours into the game is going to be useless anyway.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. In the first Battlefront game, there's this pre-order bonus where you get Han Solo's blaster, and whenever you used it, it was actually the most overpowered weapon in the game at that time.
Yeah, pay to win.
So, yeah, exactly.
Pay to win mechanic. I cannot rightfully support that stuff now. I may support stuff that's cosmetic in the future, but right now they're still trying to push how much they can actually get past as far as microtransactions and as far as loot boxes go. Now, everyone keeps saying, well, microtransactions are here to stay, all this stuff. I don't think they are, but I think people have to start taking a hard stance. Like, right now, you're playing Call of Duty, right? World War II?
Yeah.
How are the microtransactions in that game? Because aren't there loot boxes in it?
Yeah, there are. I've just been opening up a few right now, but I mean, it's based off of different ranks, off the prestige, obviously, and some other shit. But it's it seems to be fair, but I mean, there's a little bit of a grind to get where you want, obviously, to get different weapons, and then when you prestige, you roll the dice and have to start over again, and you get like one prestige token per, time, so you can keep one weapon that you can unlock all the time. So I like that because it forces you to grind a little bit. That's what we were talking earlier about Destiny 1, and having these raids that were so difficult to get to, and I mean, to get the Touch of Malice was like, a 3-week event. That kind of stuff to me is more fun. Destiny 2, I was lost on it because, we did the raid and everything in 2 weeks. It's like, okay, now what?
Yeah, exactly. And even when they had events, they still fucked them up. Again, it's hard to get over that one. But, okay.
No fun either.
So what can you actually buy microtransaction-wise? How does that affect the game? Because I heard not only do you buy these loot boxes, but they're opened up in front of people, too.
You don't buy them. It's just, I mean, you get loot crates for certain ranks and for, whatever, certain achievements and stuff.
So can you not buy loot crates?
No, you don't buy them. You just get them from hitting different milestones.
So what microtransactions are actually in the game then?
None that I know of, or none that I haven't bought anything extra. The thing that was kind of dumb is I did the pre-order on this to get Quarantine, and I barely even play it. Until it's on the 24/7 countdown, and I would have much rather, it'd be part of a rotation, but I get why it's like that because not everyone has it right now.
No, I gotta look at that because apparently you can buy loot crates in the game and they open up in front of people. Maybe this is a new Call of Duty that came out, right? World War II?
Yeah, but you don't. I mean, you don't buy them unless you can buy. Honestly, I don't know. I'm not throwing any extra money into this game. Every loot crate I open is because, like, you get them at certain ranks, and then there's certain orders that you can purchase and different, challenges basically that you purchase in game based off of, your. Hold on, this is killing someone. Based off of your rank and stuff. So it's all rank based, really. So as you progress and get more armory credits, as they're called, you can't really buy the crates with the armory credits, but you can buy different, like, emotes and different things with them. There's epic weapons, which are, just like exotic weapons in Destiny, which is like souped up versions, or different exotic looking versions of certain weapons that you get. And then there's, like, these things called collections, where to get a certain epic, to be able to buy a certain epic in game, is to basically be you have to get these 7 collection items or whatever. But now, to answer your one, now that I'm thinking that, though, as of the 21st, there's going to be Call of Duty coins, I think, and that might be what you're talking about. So maybe you can buy Call of Duty coins like you could buy silver for Eververse.
That might be it.
But it's not in yet. It's in on the 21st, so it's on Monday. That's probably what you're thinking of.
That might be. So, it still sounds like that's what it's going to be then. You can actually buy the stuff.
Probably.
So imagine what you're grinding for now and all this stuff, and imagine someone being able to just drop $100 and just blow past all that. How would that affect the gameplay?
What's going to happen. It's going to happen, and then eventually, it's going to piss you off. But at the same time, this game's so straightforward. Call of Duty's just fast and quick that, people might be able to buy some of this stuff, but it's going to come down to different game styles and play. And I play hardcore because I feel like if you get the drop on someone, you should get the kill. And if someone buys a really good gun but they suck, then it's not going to matter to me if I can still kill them fast.
True, but let's say it's you and someone of equal skill, but he buys 100 loot crates. What do you think will happen if you guys go up against each other?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, see, I can't support something like that.
No, the problem is it's gonna dilute the game eventually if that's what happens. Because you're just gonna have a bunch of shit out there, and like you said, part of the beauty of playing these games, is whether we admit it or not, you like to show off what you've done. You like to see what you like to show. I've accomplished this. I did this bullshit to get this, that kind of stuff. And, if someone just comes and buys it, like I said, that definitely takes away from it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I totally agree with you.
I get it.
I want to show off all my Dead Orbit gear and show off my exotics and stuff, but if I can't, if someone can just turn around and say I'm playing Call of Duty for, up to the point you have, and the next week someone comes in, drops $50, and has suddenly got more stuff than I do, well, that kind of destroys everything I just worked for.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
So right now, that's, again, huge problem. And again, it's not this game. In fact, that game I kept trying to get you guys to look at. Well, yeah, that's a problem. But like again with EA, the reason that they took out they disabled buying loot boxes right now is because the community basically said no. They made such a big deal out of it that again the Belgium government had to get involved, or is getting involved. And the whole community, they're just ripping on them. It's gotten to the point to where now, and I don't think it's gonna. I already know it's not gonna stop, but they're gonna try and pull something else so people stay on their toes. You might get it actually fixed, but it got to the point to where they actually had to pull the damn loot boxes for the official launch.
Yeah.
Like, people were sending or giving back their pre-orders like crazy. They were getting so much negative press. They were having people in the mainstream news looking at this, and unless it's something bad, most people don't really care about what gamers do or what's going on in the gaming community. We're usually just kind of on our own. But it's got to the bad to where a foreign government is looking into this. It's making international news. So we can make a change, but we've actually got to stick to it. So I can't support certain games right now. Like I said, that game I was telling you about, Monster Hunter, I've been playing it for years. They made huge headlines about a week or so ago because they came out and said, we're not going to have loot boxes in our games. I mean, think about how bad it's gotten to where a game, a AAA title, by the way, that's been out for years. I mean, I was playing this back on the PSP days, I think. It was on PlayStation 1 when it started, I think. Yeah, the original PlayStation. I mean, they made huge news by saying we're not going to have loot boxes in the game. I guarantee that just got them at least a few thousand more sales for the game, at the very least. So I don't buy the whole we need to have loot boxes and microtransactions in our game. They're just being greedy. And it's gotten to the point now to where the content doesn't even have to be good for them to get away with this shit. I mean, how much money do you think people have spent on loot boxes or on Bright Ingrams in Destiny 2? And we're pissed at the game. I mean, just because of the lack of content and all the stuff they took out of it and took away from us. Imagine how much money they've made on their loot boxes right now. Probably a lot.
I wish Chance was on right now, just because he is the king of buying shit at games.
Well, and Stud was fucking, I mean, he made a comment where he's like spending another $100 on Bright Ingrams, and I was like, okay, why when there's nothing really in them? And two, why would you support this crap? I mean, he can do what he wants with his own money, but the more we let this happen in the industry, the more it's going to happen and the worse it's going to get. I mean, with Battlefront is just the tip of the iceberg. And I'm trying to think of who said this. I'm quoting either Jim Sterling or Sid Alpha, or I'm paraphrasing anyway. But all that happened right now is that AAA developers found out that they can't just jump right into the cosmetic, or going from cosmetic to you get all your power from loot boxes. They kind of have to like start creeping that in there.
Yeah.
And again, Destiny 2 starts with shit. Like, I'm not planning on buying any expansions unless they fix this shit. But again, we've got mods we can get out of the fucking shit. Battlefront 2, they're not changing up, or they're changing up their loot crates, or what they're talking about doing. Someone got a interview with them. I have to put that link down in the description too. Basically, they're going to go from having, you know, random crap in loot crates to kind of like how Warframe does, how they have boosters. So imagine paying, you know, $10 for an extra 2 days, and you get double credits for those amount of days or something like that. That's something that they're looking into doing instead. So they may have taken microtransactions out for now. It's only temporary. They're going to come back with more. And they're going to try and sneak it in and try and do different stuff. And over the years, they're going to keep trying to do more and more. And here in about 5-10 years, we're going to turn around. We're going to be playing, you know, Destiny 3. And every weapon is behind a freaking loot box. And it takes 10 hours of grinding to get one loot box. That's the kind of system we're looking at here within the next decade. So we can spend $60 on the base game.
Yeah,
But then we're going to have to spend, you know, $200, $300, $400 to make any kind of progression whatsoever in the games.
Yeah. $60 gets you in the door, and then they're like, by the way, there's also this, or for this much you can have this.
Yeah, and again, I don't mind loot boxes, I don't mind microtransactions, I don't mind any of that stuff. What I mind is having them in a game that already cost me $60 to buy. That I do not like. That makes no sense.
I think people are looking at the demand and saying, well, $60 is just a baseline now, and that's the minimum people are willing to pay for a game. It's kind of fucked up because it is expensive.
Well,
about, you know,
it's expensive.
People playing for, you know, younger or older. I mean, $60 is $60. But
well, I mean, it's expensive, but they keep going with the, well, that's industry standard. We can't change the price. If it's a good game, I don't mind paying $100 for a good game without microtransactions. If it takes that much to make it, if it's really good and it's got the content in it, I don't mind paying the extra money. No, we didn't set the industry standard. The industry did. They're complaining it takes, you know, too much money to produce these games. We got to have microtransactions in them now. We didn't set the standard. They did. So that whole we need microtransactions to make our games, it doesn't really fly with me. I mean, there's great games out there that cost $10 on Steam. There's shit games out there that cost $60. But if you make a good game, you don't really have to worry about it. You're going to make your money back. The problem is that too many people are making shitty games, and even some of the good games coming out, they're just putting up a ton more microtransactions. I mean, look how many copies Destiny 2 sold. They don't need microtransactions in the game to make their money back, but they got them in there anyway.
Yeah, I wish Destiny 2 was just so mind-blowing that I'm like, yeah, I want more. I can't wait for the expansion to come out, but I'm like,
Yeah, like, I'm planning on playing up through the whatever expansions that our season passes got us. Because, I mean, fuck it, we paid for them, so we might as well try and get something out of them. Hopefully they fix their stuff. But as of right now, the only game company I've seen, and I know it's weird to say, there's only a couple that I've seen actually try to correct their mistakes here lately. The big one is, or the main one is, I'm trying to think of what their damn name is called. The ones who made No Man's Sky. Fucking Hello Games. They're the only company I've seen.
They offered you like a refund, didn't you?
They did a refund thing, but not only did they basically come out and say, okay, they essentially came out and said, okay, hey, we fucked up. There wasn't as much stuff in here as we said there was going to be, or we may have led you to believe. They're still making updates for the game. Like, they've been making free updates for it since, like, I went back and played it. Every update has come out. It's a decent game now. Don't get me wrong. On launch, I'd say it definitely wasn't worth the sticker price. But I also am weird like that. I mean, I put 100 hours into the game before I got bored. I mean, it was a grind, but I'm like you. I like grindy games. I was grinding to get my, highest ship. I was making videos. And, I mean, I liked the game, but when I got bored, it was like a brick wall. I'm like, okay, I got my ship. Shit, I've literally got nothing else to do now. Now, they've actually started adding in stuff like farming. They've added in base building. They've added in a lot of stuff. Okay, I mean, does not look like the same game it was when it released. And as far as I know, they're still making stuff for it. In fact, I should probably look that up here soon. But they're the only game company I've seen so far that have really come out and said, hey, we fucked up. We're going to put out more shit. And don't get me wrong, they haven't actually said a whole lot. They basically said we're going to make... Like, before the game came out, Sean Murray, he was tweeting every day about how awesome the game was and how he was excited. And then when it came out, it was like media silence. There was a huge backlash, and they weren't saying shit. Well, they've stopped saying stuff too, but it seems to be more like they're actually working on the game now, and that's why they're not talking. And what they've done so far, it's held up. I mean, the first thing they did... Was it base building that came out first? I think it was base building that came out first. You can actually make your base. You can make a home planet. I mean, that was a huge update right there. There was cargo ships. It might have been a second update, but I mean, it's gotten to the point to where now you can own multiple ships. There are cargo ships you can own. You can have home planets. You can have home bases. There's multiple land vehicles you can use now. You can bring land vehicles onto alien planets. You can explore them. I mean, it is, again, it does not look anything like it looked like when it released. I haven't seen any other game company do something like that besides them here recently.
Yeah, at the release of the game, you were basically excited.
Oh yeah,
I was really excited.
Yeah, I was real excited for it. And don't get me wrong, I played that game for 100 solid hours at least before I got bored. But when I did get bored, I was like, shit, I'm bored. And I was like, there really isn't anything to do in this game. I mean, I was all up for exploring. I was enjoying updating my ship and upgrading it. I was enjoying modifying my stuff. But when we had like the one weapon, now we have multiple weapons. I mean, there's a ton of shit now. I mean, it really does not look the same at all. But yeah, it was disappointing.
To add that excitement, you were basically doing the same thing over and over again to release until you got bored.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of exploring. You were mining, yeah. You're mining. You were updating your ship. You were looking for new stuff. You're looking for cool planets. There was a bit of a story, a couple of them actually. You're trying to do that. You're trying to make your way to the center of the galaxy. But the big thing at the time, your whole main grind was getting bigger ships and unlocking all the upgrades. Yeah, basically getting better gear. But once you got to
that for a very long time.
Yeah, so once you got to that top tier, once you figured out the system, it wasn't hard to do. I got there, and then I was like, shit, there was a brick wall there. So basically, once you were fully upgraded, there was nothing to do except just keep looking at different planets. Now there's actually more stuff to do. I mean, the main focus of the game is still exploring, but now you can actually make more ships. There's a use for money now. Their combat's better. There's a lot more weapons and upgrades. You can actually visit people's stuff now. I mean... It's a lot different than it was before. I mean, even with that basic looking for the best gear stuff, that grind has become, even if you're just doing that, that grind on its own has become so much more drawn out and interesting now that, I mean, like I said, it just looks totally different. So if I were to start up the game, or if the game that's out now had launched, I don't think there would have been a problem. I don't think there would have been any problem at all.
I wish that was like it at the launch.
Do what?
I wish it was like that at the launch.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, and a lot of people, I mean, had they done that, and they kept coming out with stuff that, like, keep coming out with updates like they are now, I mean, shit, they definitely would have been Game of the Year. They definitely would have had, like, Game of the Year. Or at least been a contender for it.
I think they were trying to rush it. That's part of the issue.
Yeah, and I think that's what it is, too. I think they rush it. I think they promised too much. I think they had huge ambitions, and I think they ended up just rushing the game. And the stuff that they put out now is so smooth, I think if they just delayed it, even by 6 months, I think they could have released it how it is now, and it would have been great. But they've lost a ton of their player base. I mean, it was one of the biggest bombs in gaming history. They've got some of their player base back. I mean, I've still got the game. I check out the updates. I've got a farm and a bunch of ships and stuff. I mean, I got other games I got to play now. I do, you know, my live streaming and my videos, but I go back to it. Whenever there's an update, I go back, check out the updates. I mean, I enjoy playing it. I really do. But that initial disappointment after 100 hours, and again, for me, it was a lot longer for me than it took other people to get bored with the game. But I'm weird that way. I like playing those kind of games. That's just me.
Alright, so let's talk about Anthem a little bit more.
Oh my god, Anthem. I am so scared for that game. I can't say excited. I'm scared for that game right now. Because it looks awesome. It really does. Successful. Yeah, I want it to be successful. I want it to have stuff in there. I don't want it to be empty. And even if it is empty, or they got plans, because they said the exact same thing that Bungie said when they released it, or released a Destiny. They got a 10-year plan for the game. So I'm worried about that because we see how Destiny's turned out. But my biggest fear right now is that it's also going to be a microtransaction and loot box fest.
Right, and you saw how they had these weapons that you can pick up during battle as well.
Yeah, I saw how it dropped. I saw how it picks up. I don't mind that, again, if you can't pay for it. If it's all in-game RNG, fine, so be it. I'm actually fine with that, because then the more you play, you get the better chance you got of finding some awesome stuff. But the second you can pay for that in any shape, form, or fashion, that's when it's going to be a no-go for me. That's when I'm done. And I'm even going to go so far, because I got to stick with this, if there's cosmetic microtransactions, I can't do it. I think the only saving grace is, because it looks like you got different suits and stuff you can wear, I would be fine with the Warframe, the way that they do it. Like, you can actually, you know, buy the different characters or whatever. I would tentatively be fine with that if, one, they only cost a couple of bucks, and two, if they could still be got in-game in less than a day. Because right now in Warframe, I can go through and get just about any character I want or need in less than a day.
Right. So my hopes for Anthem is that it makes you feel like a badass, you know?
Like jetpacking around, just awesome badass type shit. Yeah. I'm hoping that too. You know? I was watching the trailers or the little teasers of them flying around and stuff, looking at all the monsters and that freaking big ass storm and shit to go into. That looked pretty awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't know, and I know I'm harping on it a lot. I mean, I really am scared for the game. I'm afraid that they're gonna ruin it, and that scares me because I really want to play this game. I really do. I want to like this game. I want to be excited for it. I want to play it. I want it to be the next game we can all just get together. We can go out hunting or doing quests or whatever, and it's awesome. But I'm scared that the game, besides the microtransactions, I'm scared the game might end up being hollow, kind of like Destiny, I guess Destiny 1 on launch, and how Destiny 2 is now. I'm afraid that it's going to be visually stunning, but empty. I mean, the game looks awesome. I'm not worried about it looking weird, but, I mean, I just hope there's actually stuff to do in there.
Yeah. My second hope is that either you can explore a lot more. It's not like you can only go down this one pathway. And there's visible walls and all that crap. And that there's also different biomes and all that, like deserts and the winters and all that. Or even go to other planets. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I can see that. That'd be. Oh, I don't know if there's gonna be other planets. I was looking up a little bit of it. I don't know if there'll be other planets. I think it's all a colony on one planet, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, even if it's just one planet, if they got like the different biomes and different areas to go to, then I'd be fine with that. So it's not all, you know, just one little area.
Yeah, one grassland, just green everywhere, and that's it. That's all you see.
Yeah, I don't want all the quests to look the same, like it's all in the same, you know, green little grassland or, you know, all in like a 2-mile radius. I want it to, you know, mix up a bit too. Like different quest types and stuff. Because it kind of looks something like, I'm trying to think what it looks like. Kind of looks like a cross between Monster Hunter and Destiny. Like, it looks like you pick up bounties and stuff, like there's other quests to do. Looks like there were some Radiant quests out in the world you could do. So, I mean, it looks like it'll be pretty interesting as far as gameplay goes, if it is the way I think it is, but... You know, that's just... Besides all the microtransactions, I'm afraid that that game is... I'm worried that they're putting too much into visuals and not enough in the gameplay. Now, right now, I got no reason to think so, because we still got limited info on the game. But, I mean, we'll see how it looks when it comes out. I mean, it's... Like I said, I'm scared for it. I'm excited, but worried. Because I don't want to get my hopes up too high, and then 2 months before it launches, and here's our loot box system, and how you can do all this. I'm like, see, now I don't want to do it. I can't fucking do it.
Like a child, you know.
Yeah, or it turns out to be something like Evolve when it came out. How it looked awesome, and it turns out it was just shit.
Right.
I need to get some more coffee here soon. But yeah, that one definitely looks good. I mean, I haven't heard any more information on it here recently, have you? I mean, I don't know what all you've heard, but I mean, all I saw so far was the gameplay trailers. They talked a little bit about what gameplay would be in the game, but I haven't really seen much more than that. I know it's supposed to be different classes in there.
More info would be appreciated.
What was that?
Is there a release date for that yet?
I have not seen a release date. I think I know 2018.
Should be next year.
Yeah, it's 2018. I forgot it was summer or whatever it was. It's like late next year. So the other game I've been pretty excited about, especially since their announcement, is Monster Hunter World. And I know I talked to you about it a little bit, Pelly.
Oh, yeah.
And Dash, have you seen it? I guess you did, since you just mentioned that. Have you ever played Monster Hunter before?
I played, like, on a handheld version of it.
Yeah,
that was a really long time ago.
Yeah, I got it on the 3DS right now. I actually, when I saw the announcement for Monster Hunter World, I went and picked it up at the latest one at GameStop. I've been playing the crap out of it. I just started playing some more Fallout, so I haven't played it in a few days. But, yeah, Monster Hunter is one of those games. I've been playing it back since Monster Hunter Freedom back on, I think it was on, like, PSP or something, or I think it was a PSP. I love the game. I really do. And World is looking to be fucking amazing.
Yeah, I saw that trailer. I was hyped.
Yeah, I've been looking at all the trailers. I saw that. I gotta remember his channel, but there's a YouTuber who actually got to go play, and he got to play with all the weapons. I think he played like 10 hours or something, but he got to use all the weapons. He got to use do a bunch of the quests. I think he got up to Master Rank 4 in 2 days when he was playing. I mean, it was awesome. He got some exclusive footage. I mean, it looks like standard Monster Hunter, but they've changed up a few things, like the way you can like drink or walk when you're drinking potions and stuff, and like there's an item dial now. Graphically, I mean, it looks awesome, obviously.
Yeah, definitely.
New monsters, like always. I mean, it looks standard Monster Hunter, but it looks like they've done a bunch of new stuff in there without overwriting what is Monster Hunter.
Yeah. I like how the monsters look natural instead of robot-y looking. You know how sometimes the monsters can be kind of janky or kind of weird sometimes.
Yeah, cartoony, like program. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, most of the Western releases have been, I think all of them have been handheld, so I mean, there's only so much you can do with that, but I mean, yeah, it's going to be interesting to like fight realistic like monsters, I guess. It'll be
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying. I mean, it looks awesome so far. And I'm trying to get all you guys playing it, because I mean, that's definitely one that is really fun to play with people. And that's one thing I didn't like about the original Monster Hunter. I didn't play with anybody else. I played all of it by myself.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, it sucked. Monster Hunter Freedom, I think it was Monster Hunter Freedom Unite was the first one. I had to do all of that solo. Including the Shaolin fight, and that was a beast. Matter of fact, I don't think I ever got the full sets of them just because it took so much preparation for me to get through them that I just couldn't fucking do it.
Did you give up?
I don't know, I mean, I played it, I got as far as I could. I mean, I kept making stuff. I mean, I got through every boss fight. I got through every fight. It was just a pain in the ass. So I've been playing, oh crap, I got smushed. I've been playing the new one, Monster Hunter Generations. It's on 3DS, or I should say the newest one. And, I mean, I think it's been out for like a year. There's still people playing online. I've gone through, they've got every village from the previous games on there, it looks like. I mean, I'm playing with people. I'm loving it. I mean, it's a totally different experience playing with people than it is playing solo. And then I played Monster Hunter 3 back on the Wii. I forgot why I stopped playing it. But, I mean, that was my first time actually playing with people. And it was a lot easier than I expected, having people in there playing with you. Like, I was used to a solo experience the whole time, which, you know, was still fun enough for me. I loved it. But I never played with people before, and it just shocked me. Seeing people in there supporting each other, you know, having a gunner, having people hitting them while one person's kind of tanking them. I mean, it was crazy. I always had to, like, do these 30-minute hunts and kind of time them out and, you know, do all these perfect runs to do anything. And we were going in there and just wrecking these monsters in like 5-10 minutes. And that was a long hunt.
An extremely successful sortie.
Yeah, I feel like playing with friends makes the game better. Or have a better experience.
Oh yeah, especially when it comes to farming stuff. And I can't tell you how long it took me to get
games. Like, you can make fun of the bad game with your friends.
Oh yeah.
I think that's what makes it better.
Yeah, I definitely like playing multiplayer games. I mean, I'm playing Fallout 4 now, so I mean that's why I'm not doing too much. But I mean, I'd love to be able to play that multiplayer, but obviously you can't really do it. But I mean, my favorite games are the ones where, I mean, just like when I first met up with the clan, I mean, being able to get online, play with my friends, you know, we're going to have a set time to where, hey, we're all going to meet up, we're going to play the game, we're going to enjoy it, we had good times doing it, even if we sucked at it or we, you know, didn't beat a raid. I mean, we still had a great time playing the game. That was the whole fun of it. I mean, we progressed, yeah, but the 90% of our fun came just from playing the game and, you know, hanging out. And that's definitely a game you can do that, too. And it looks like now there's actually going to be kind of how Destiny did. Now there's actually going to be not really a clan system, but a squad system. Like, I guess you can belong to multiple squads. They're kind of like mini clans, it looks like. Let's see. So I'm fighting some crap. I'm just taking care of some random crap on Titan. But yeah, it looks like there's going to be like a little mini squad system. And it's going to be squad emblems and stuff. You can belong to multiple squads. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to that, too. We're definitely going to have I'm definitely going to be starting an Exiled Existence squad on there. So hopefully everybody else gets the game too. I mean, I know... Have you ever played a Monster Hunter game, Pelly? I don't think you had, right? Hello?
No, I haven't. I don't know my mic's on or off. Yeah, no.
Yep, I don't think Stud or Nerf had either. I'd love to get you guys into that. I mean... I know it's definitely probably different than what you guys are used to, but, I mean, it's still fun, especially with the way that this system's looking like. I mean, it's not like a game like Destiny or anything where it's like a health bar. I mean, you've actually got to track down a monster, you got to learn its patterns. I mean, it's a progression system, too. Like, you start off fighting weak monsters, you get your better gear, you choose what weapon you want. I mean, there's 14 different weapons. They all got a totally different style for the most part. You know, you choose your favorite weapons. Freaking,
That's cool.
You progress through. You know, you get stronger armor. You finally take down your first big monster. Then you start making new armor and weapons. And you I mean, you can finally get to the point where you're taking down elder dragons. I mean, even once you get to the point where you've technically beaten the game or beaten whatever the elder dragon is, I mean, you still want to go through and make new weapons and try out new stuff. I mean, if nothing else, I mean, technically speaking, you can have 14 different playthroughs just because of the fact there's 14 different weapon types.
Alright, so do you want to talk about, in your personal opinion, the game of the year?
Ah, shit. That's a good question. Hell, what would I put down as the game of the year right now? What all games have come out this year that haven't been shit, in my opinion, is the first question.
Yeah.
Fucking Horizon came out this year. Not to say that's definitely a contender. I have not gotten to play the DLC for it. Honestly, I mean, I probably have to go through and replay the game before I would even think of buying it. I mean, I loved it when it was out, or when it first came out. I played it when it came out. And, I mean, it was definitely different. I loved it. I mean, hell, it was kind of like Monster Hunter, except, you know, a little bit easier. And,
yeah.
I mean, I definitely love that game. Oh, I got the internet right here. What all has come out in 2017? Because I played quite a few games, and obviously I can't remember that many, so they weren't that memorable. Destiny 2 is definitely not on the list. Games released 2017.
I really liked Battlefield 1. It was probably one of my favorite first-person shooters ever, for me.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. So I might add in some early access games here too. I'll tell you the games that I've played this year that I've liked. They may not have come out this year, but they're definitely games that I've played this year. First off, all the Fallout mods. I'm constantly going through Fallout and playing new mods when they come out, so that's a given. Yeah, like I said, Horizon Zero Dawn is definitely one of the top contenders. I've been playing Subnautica. Excuse me, I keep burping. Subnautica, I don't remember when it went into early access, but it's definitely been a fun and pants-shittingly scary game for me, just because the whole thing takes place underwater, and my phobia just happens to be being stuck in the middle of the ocean. So that's been pretty... Basically, it's a survival game, but for me, it's a fucking horror mindfuck game, so probably have a different experience than everybody else. Yeah, it makes it better for me. Like, if I'm going to play a horror game, Subnautica is my horror game. Any kind of game where you put me in the middle of the ocean, and I know there's stuff in there that's going to try to eat me, that's going to do it for me, so it's definitely been fun. It's scary. I've done a lot of live streams playing it, but it has scared the living shit out of me.
What scared you the most, other than being the water and the things trying to kill you? What like got you? Like, what monster scared you the most? I should say.
It's not a monster. It's a situation, though.
It's a situation.
Being on the surface of the water, especially at night, out in the middle of the deep parts of the ocean, because you got to surface for oxygen if you're not in a ship or in a submarine or anything. Having to surface for oxygen, and then diving back down into that void, that scares the shit out of me. When you're down on the ocean floor, it's not so bad. You can kind of see around you a little bit better. You know nothing's going to come up from underneath you. And the closer you get to the ground, you know it's a bit more lit down there. Being out in the open ocean at the top of it, then having to dive back down, especially because there's that effect when you dive back down, there's all that foam in your face, that sea foam, the water splash around so you can't see clearly. That scares the shit out of me more than anything else, than how to do that slow swim back to the bottom. That's the worst. Other than that, as far as creatures go, it would definitely be the Warper. They are biomechanical, I guess, guardians is the best way to put it, that can warp you out of your ship or out of your exosuit.
Alright. So, put a VR on. What are your experiences? What do you think is going to happen?
If I put a VR on?
Yes.
Playing that game?
The game.
The game is in VR too, or they have VR for it. First off, you would have to convince me to do that to begin with. That would probably be a very hard no. Barring that, if you can convince me to do it, I think I would possibly literally shit myself at some point. Like, not even figuratively.
Feel anything interesting lately?
Maybe. Just the nature of the game and just how sea creatures act. There are jump scares. And yeah, I mean, there's a good possibility I could have a heart attack. I'd say it's more likely I would just shit myself. Or at the very least piss myself. There were a lot of times where I was over here sweating my ass off. And my wife was looking at me like, what's wrong? And I'm like, I'm playing Subnautica. And she was like, oh, okay. And she knows, she's played too. Obviously she doesn't share the same fear I do, so it doesn't scare her as much. But I mean, yeah, that'd be the worst thing is to make me put on a VR headset and play that game.
Someone's trying to force you and you're like, no, get this thing off of me.
I would physically fight you to keep it off, yes. Man, I can't even imagine, dude. And the game is in VR too. That's what's scary.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you get the game in VR, and that is, I mean, it is terrifying to even think about doing that.
Right.
Now, put me in any fucking horror game, and put me in Condemned in VR, and I'm fine. I'm having a good time. And those were some freaky ass games. But you put me in the middle of some freaking sea creatures in the middle of the ocean, and I'm done. Good game, though. Very good game.
Yeah.
I like it. And it's an early access game. It's a sandbox game, but unlike most sandboxes, it's actually got a finish to it. So they're working on the ending now. The game does actually end. So it's not like you're just forever in there like Minecraft. You are working towards a purpose. So I mean, you can stay in there and build up a bunch of stuff if you want to, which is pretty fun, but you are working to escape the planet. You're working towards something.
So, did they still update that game, or...?
Yeah, it's early access. They're working on it right now, actually. It got pushed back, which I don't mind, because they still do regular updates. I mean, they keep the community pretty much informed. They pushed back the ending. They're working on a couple more things with it. I forgot why they pushed it back, but I guess originally it was supposed to have been out October, and it got pushed back to next year. So, I mean, it is what it is with that, but as long as they do it right, I don't mind.
Alright, I'll be right back.
Yep.
In like a minute or so.
So, what's on your mind there in the gaming world there, Pele?
Say what?
So, what's on your mind in the game world? In fact, what would you say your game of the year would be?
Fuck. It's been disappointing.
Disappointed and all? They all kind of sucked.
I mean, right now, I'm having the most fun playing Call of Duty, but, it's just brand new.
So is this a new game that's...
Yeah, just in the middle of fucking shotgun dudes running around. It's gay. Call of Duty has its normal bullshit. It comes with it, you know, people just play it a certain way. I really wish Battlefield 1 had more staying power, because I like Battlefield over Call of Duty any day, so I'm hoping that maybe they will, you know, come back to World War II or something, or go back to their roots, because that's the most fun.
Yeah, hopefully, but I mean, we'll see how it goes. I'm trying to think, there's another fucking big-ass game controversy that had just come up recently, too, and I can't remember what the fuck it was. Nothing else gives me more stuff for next week, but what the hell else had just recently happened there? There's something else that made big game news, too, and I can't... Oh, fucking Nintendo's bullshit. Those fuckers.
Yeah. I didn't even fuck with that thing.
Yeah, I still refuse to buy a Wii just because of their policy with their fucking content creators, or lack of a real... Well, they got a policy, it's just a really shitty policy.
Yeah.
So, I guess, I don't remember if I talked about this before. I guess Nintendo... Okay, so essentially you can't make Nintendo videos and be monetized, or if it is monetized, Nintendo gets the money. That's the way Nintendo's current process works. You can sign up for their creator program, but from what I understand of it, they get a cut of all the money, and they have to prove whatever videos you put out. That's the way I understand it right now. They just recently come out with, and this is like a month or two ago, honestly, but they had recently come out with anyone who's a part of their creator program could not live stream games. Cannot live stream Nintendo games on their account. Now, they could live stream on a different account, but they still couldn't monetize it. So that became a huge hubbub. And essentially, YouTube, of all people, basically told Nintendo that they need to fix their creator interactions. Which is funny, because YouTube's monetization process is still fucked, especially for gaming videos. So right now, let me take a look at what my analytics say. Like, even for a small channel, let me we're not making a ton right now. I think might be up to $1, but we still only got, I think we're up to 97. We've kind of been stuck, but hopefully the podcast helps.
97 cents? Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's making money. It's just really slow, but we're trying to get more subs. Yeah, we're at 97. We haven't quite hit 100, but we're slowly getting there. We've been getting at least a couple subscribers a month. But let me see what all videos I have that are monetized or that have been demonetized. I think actually most of mine are, but I've also got a smaller channel. And see, I said all these to be monetized, but half of them still aren't monetized. I actually got that yellow, essentially it's not really demonetized, but you can't be monetized by, the way it works is like most advertisers wouldn't advertise on a yellow symbol, basically. Like, I'm trying to think of the way it goes. Essentially, it's marked as not family friendly, and that really hurts your monetization. So yeah, like half of these aren't freaking monetized, and I went through and monetized all of them, and they don't have a red mark on them, so they weren't demonetized.
Is that Nerfed and Stud's fault?
No. I forgot what happened with that one video. Matter of fact, I need to check and see if I got that one reviewed. I had one that had been flagged for demonetization, but I had it reviewed. Looks like it got remonetized because one of my latest videos, yeah. So all my latest ones from October 14th on are all monetized. I don't know why the rest of them aren't. What are my analytics right now? Basically what's going on is YouTube's still tweaking with their freaking, their AI as far as monetization goes, and it's been demonetizing gaming channels like crazy. Pretty much they demonetize anything that's got to do with any kind of violence, including animated violence, which would, of course, hit up 99% of the games that get streamed.
Yeah, kind of retarded.
Honestly, the only games that probably don't really have any kind of, simulated real-life looking violence, even like space violence in Destiny's case, would be Nintendo games, and of course you can't stream Nintendo shit. So pretty much all like Grand Theft Auto games, Destiny games, Call of Duty games, I think even Star Wars will be demonetized here shortly. Any kind of first-person shooters are all getting demonetized left and right, and it's really hurt the gaming community. And what YouTube's tried to do is essentially set up Twitch on YouTube. So set it up to where gamers can live stream and make money, but just not make money on their videos that they make, which makes no fucking sense at all. Basically, they're setting up a tip system or a subsystem like Twitch has. So that's been their solution, which is fucked up because gamers bring in a huge chunk of YouTube's views. A very huge chunk. So, yeah, them telling Nintendo to fix their monetization process is...
That's bullshit, but this dude lagging in fucking Call of Duty is bullshit too.
No, it's...
I feel like if you add... Every time Mario jumps on a Goomba, just add blood to the Goomba. Instant violence.
Oh, yeah. Well, you might as well. I mean, shit. I mean, you basically can't play any Nintendo game on YouTube anywhere, put up any video for it, so you might as well just add violence to it. It can't be monetized anyway, or at least if they do, Nintendo gets a chunk of your money. Trying to think if there's any other bullshit to go. We've been going for about an hour and a half, not too bad. Trying to think if there's anything else that was going on that I wanted to talk about. What's the last video I released? Last few videos I've actually put up have been about the loot boxes and stuff, because it's been pretty big and needed to be talked about. Creator Studio. What else do we got? Loot crates. Yeah, we talked about how Destiny sucks. I think those are really the big ones. Yep, Destiny 2 rent.
Yeah, I feel like Destiny 2 was like a step down from Destiny, in my opinion.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I really couldn't give a shit about the fucking. I mean, like I said, I'm gonna play Curse of Osiris when it comes out, but unless they fix all the other stuff, I can guarantee the season passes that we have aren't gonna last for all the content that comes out too, which is something else that pisses me off. When they originally came out, I forgot what game started that bullshit. Where the season? Oh yeah, it was fucking Fallout 4. That's when Bethesda started getting iffy. The fucking season pass wouldn't cover all the DLC, and they had to go back and fix all that bullshit. And oh, that was fucking fun. But I can guarantee the season pass is not going to cover all the DLC for Destiny 2. It's going to cover like the first two, which will make it all of maybe like $5 off of it. So you have to keep buying season passes every year, which I'm not going to fucking do. That's something else I'm not going to do anymore, doing season passes for games when the oh shit, fuck my mic up. Buying season passes for the game when the content hasn't even been made yet.
Yeah.
Especially when all it does is save you like $5, maybe $10. So cannot do it. Which is something else that pisses me off, because you buy season passes for DLC, and then these companies are still saying we need to monetize them to bring out DLC. That's one of the other excuses that they use for these loot boxes and other monetization, is that it funds free DLC. Problem is that some of the same games that are doing this are also having paid DLC. That shit doesn't make any sense. I just don't understand it.
That's messed up.
So, but I think that's about everything I've got, unless you guys got anything.
Let's talk about The Last of Us 2. We haven't talked about that game yet.
Is it even out? I haven't never played the first one. I'm guessing you played it. What's up with it?
Yes. Oh yeah, The Last of Us. The first game was just amazing. Probably like 10 out of 10 for me, honestly.
Yeah, I heard it was great. I just never got to play it.
Amazing. The story was like the best part about the game, of course. And the fact they added multiplayer to it added even more greatness to it.
Nice.
And so, if you look at the trailer, I want you to look at the trailer, and whenever you look at the trailer, see the first game first, then see the trailer, and then judge how good the story is based on the trailer.
All right, I got the YouTubes from me right now. The Last of Us trailer. Let's see. Okay, here it is. All right, give me a second. I gotta hook up my headphones because I can't have it playing while the podcast is going. You guys talk amongst yourself while I'm looking at this. I remember what the story is for the first Last of Us trailer. So let me look at the Last of Us trailer too. So I'd watched a lot of videos about the game. I just never actually played it. So give me a second. I'm gonna turn my mic off and I'm gonna watch this.
There isn't really much in the trailer that tells anything about the story, but it still tells something to us, like how Ellie grew up and all that. But we haven't seen Joel at all. At least I don't think so.
And I'm watching it now. I see a chick getting dragged across the ground. Chick looks fucked up. Alright, flaming cards making me think of Fallout 4 again. What does this chick look like?
Oh yeah, she's been going through some shit.
Hanging bodies and shit. She just make me think of Fallout 4 even more.
Yeah. I think you're watching the second trailer, maybe.
I think so. Which one should I be watching?
It's the one with the guitar.
Fucking hanging this hooker. What the hell?
It's crazy. It's like depressing as hell, honestly.
They're busting this chick's arm up. Alright, he just got 2 to the chest. Alright, shit's getting real. I'm kind of skipping ahead right now. Okay, I'm gonna go to the first trailer real quick. Let's see. Damn, 7 million views? Okay, Last of Us 2 official trailer. I guess this is the first one. It starts off in the woods. That's the one?
It's the... Let me see.
Shaky hand.
Oh yeah, I think so. If you say, I remember the shaky hand.
Here's the guitar. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
So then I opened the crate. Needless to say, I sent the whole shipment back to Venture.
Play Event 7 Volt. Come on.
It'll take more than a Cavalli baby to shut her everything.
Wait, sharing. Do I got something else planned, or is that part of this? What the fuck? Alright, there's some blood dropping down here.
At least as back as an absentee adventurer can be when he's never here. Eververse trades
Chick's got some pipes on her.
Guardian's journey.
What do I keep hearing? Okay, another window open, that's why.
Sure. Rhythmic physical expressions won't win life. Feeling good.
Yeah, she's talking.
Almost picked up a gun myself, but wow. Lucky them.
Alright, she says she's gonna find some people. I don't quite get it.
Now, the trailer is very vague, is what I've noticed. It's like that. I feel like they're trying to hide what the story is. What's the goal
Makes sense.
based on the trailers? Yeah.
I mean, the game's coming out in, what, late 2018 or something? I'm guessing, I don't know. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, when you first pull out especially a story-driven game like that, you don't want to give too much of the story away,
Exactly.
especially on such a
Right.
a game like Last of Us 1. Everyone loved that game, apparently, so, I mean, you don't want to give away everything right away.
Now, what I'm wondering for this game is if they're gonna add any new mechanics.
I'd say probably.
Like in the first game, it was a third person, of course, and then you'd have these shivs, right? And these clickers, right? And the clickers are based on sound, so they're like an enemy type, and you need to use a shiv in order to kill them from behind. And you can use the noise to draw them away from you. That was like a sort of mechanic in that game.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder, like, what kind of new zombie types, or if there is gonna be any new zombie types, or are they gonna add, or what mechanic are they gonna have?
Well, they typically
to
do
where you
add
get
in
past?
new types whenever they come out with a new game like that. It wouldn't shock me.
Right. So I'm hoping the story is really good, just like the first game.
No, hopefully. Like I said, sequels, rough history with sequels for any game. Just historically, I mean, there's some games that got good sequels, but I mean, yeah, I'm hoping, at least for everybody else, like I said, I never played the first one, but hopefully the second one does do pretty good. Who makes that game, by the way?
Naughty Dog, I think.
Naughty Dog, alright. Yeah, I've become, since I started the channel, I've become very aware of what games are being made by who, and I'm paying attention to stuff more. I didn't used to do that. I just bought whatever game, and now I'm just like, who made it, and what can I expect from this shit? But Naughty Dog, I don't think they've done anything questionable that I can think of off the top of my head. I mean, EA is a big one right now. Yeah, we got 63 tokens on this. Just buying random gear. I don't even need any of this shit right now. Alright, well, let's go with the final thing. Alright, so what could Bungie possibly do to fix Destiny 2 since I'm playing the game right now? So, what could possibly be done? What are the big issues right now? We'll end with that.
End game needs some definite work because the hardcore players are already at end game. They have nothing to really do except for play PvP for no reason. Just do whatever, or do the raids for no reason, just to help other people. So they're like kind of like a lost puppy, you know. Yes. You're just looking for something.
What do you have there, Pele?
He's pretty much nailed it right there. The problem is it's stale, stagnant. Needs some movement, needs some life.
And I think part of the problem, and it's too late to fix it for the veteran players, ones that have been playing since day one. I mean, it was too easy to get to the end. I mean, if they had made the grind harder, part of the thing that pissed me off too is that they locked a good wall of it behind needing to get to level 280 mods. I think that one, or 280 to get those mods, I don't like how they did that. It should have just been a slow progression like Destiny 1, just getting more gear, upgrading, that kind of thing. But that portion is already too late. I mean, they can't go back and... Well, they can make progressing from here on a lot slower. So that would help with the grind a little bit. I mean, like, I think we all agree we all loved the grind from Destiny 1. But there's really no grind for this one. I mean, there was that one little hump from like 265 to 280, but that was it. Once you got that, I mean, once you hit 280, you might as well be 305 if you're doing raids with people.
Also, I found a big problem with the exotics where it wasn't as exciting as it was back then in Destiny 1, where you get an exotic over and over again. Like, it was like really easy getting an exotic in Destiny 2. It wasn't that hard at all. And you get the same exotic.
Honestly, the way I feel about it is, like, I think they feel bad for the players that couldn't get that stuff, so they made it super accessible for everyone to get it, and it takes away from it. It's kind of like you're saying with the in-game purchasing of stuff, you know. Why play if everyone can get it? That's the thing.
Yeah,
Everyone's
it's kind of
300 in 2 weeks. Cool. Okay, that's retarded, but whatever.
Yeah, that kind of brings up another kind of, I guess not really controversy, but point of view for games. There was a big issue when Cuphead first came out. I'm sure you guys heard of that game. It was essentially uber hard. I guess some people were pissed off that they couldn't experience all the game had to offer because it was so hard. I think a lot of games are going that way to where they're kind of opening it up. I can't even really say opening it up. They're really just closed or making shitty games that are just too easy to make it easier for people to play them. I mean, I get the whole only having a couple hours of play. I mean, the majority of us in the clan are, you know, adults, and we've all got lives outside of video games, but at the same time, we don't want to sit down usually and just play a super fucking easy game that is really just handing us all this stuff. I think the people that are complaining that games are too hard or that it's too much of a grind, really are just going to complain about a game no matter what. I mean, I'd love games that have a grind to them. I mean, if it's got to take me a month to get to, you know, top tier or whatever, then so be it. I mean, at least there's a sense of accomplishment. In this, there was no sense of accomplishment in anything. I mean, I just bought the hard light when we started this podcast. I wanted to get it and the Borealis through Ingrams. I mean, again, I've opened up, and this is no exaggeration, in like the first 3 weeks or so, 100 exotic Ingrams or so. Didn't get them. I got it now just buying it from Xur. It essentially cost me nothing because they're all super cheap buying it from Xur, and the weapon is tainted for me now.
Oh, I mean, remember how I was getting so many Borealises, and like at that time?
Yep.
Like, it was crazy how many of it I got compared to what you got.
Yeah, I got none and no hard lights. Now I got it, and I'm using it now just because I bought the damn thing a little bit ago, but I don't even want to use it now because I know the exact same thing is going to happen if I were to like hop in PvP right now. every one of their moms is going to be using the fucking hard light because it was just available. And again, don't get me wrong, I don't mind the Ingram system, but one of the big issues that they said they're going to fix is that they're going to set it up to where you're not getting duplicate Ingrams as much anymore. That's just another thing that they addressed in Destiny 1 that should have already been in the system for Destiny 2. So that's always going to be tainted for me. And most of the exotics, honestly, are boring. I mean, the Borealis and the Hard Light. I mean, the Hard Light was one of my favorite weapons from Destiny 1. I mean, people bitched that it was, underpowered and shit, and they powered it up a bit more for Destiny 2. I loved it even in Destiny 1. I think one of the last PvP matches we did against each other, I was using the Hard Light and killing with it. I loved it. But all the exotics in Destiny 2 are just fucking boring. I mean, there's a good armor piece for the Hunter that gives us, essentially infinite special if you use it right. But there is no real exotics that have any special abilities. I mean, they're coming out with some new stuff, or at least one that I've seen for Curse of Osiris with the, I forgot what it's called. It's a grenade launcher that essentially launches out spiders that'll walk to a target if they miss and explode when they reach them, but there is nothing that really made an exotic feel exotic in Destiny 2.
So, to summarize it all up, the reward needs to be rewarding in Destiny 2.
Yeah, and don't just hand them out to everybody who plays the game, too. Make us earn them. I loved having to do, like you said before, you brought up the Touch of Malice. I loved having to go through that freaking horror show. It was a pain in the ass at the time, but, I mean, we were doing it because we liked doing it. I mean, it was fucking awesome.
Remember the Vex Mytho class?
The which one?
The Vex Mytho class, the Vault of Glass exotic raid weapon. That was specific for that raid.
Yeah.
That was awesome. The first time I got it, I was really excited. I was like, man, I'm gonna go PvP real quick.
Well, and that brings this part up too. Even outside the exotics, what's the point of raid gear? Like, in general, what's the point of raid gear on normal mode? What is it supposed to do? Besides giving a higher light level, obviously, what's it supposed... I mean, no, not in Destiny 2. I'm talking about, like, even in Destiny 1. What is the easy mode raid gear supposed to do?
Nothing.
I'm supposed to make it easier to do the raid.
Oh, yeah,
exactly.
In Destiny 1, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's how it works in most online, or I should say damn near all online games. I mean, in Destiny 1, we got raid gear, and it gave you buffs specifically for that raid. Yeah, it was more powerful than regular gear, but on top of that, it gave you buffs specific to that raid. Same thing with the Touch Mouse. It was a raid weapon that was meant to help in that raid, and it was a huge help in the raid. The gear itself was strong, but it also gave specific bonuses for the raid. Higher speed when you carry in the freaking, the buffs, freaking all sorts of crap that it would do. The raid gear in this game does nothing.
You even have to do the raid or PvP to get to 305. You can just do Flashpoint.
We just open up a Pandora's box. The fact that you can get raid gear and trials gear without doing the raid or trials in here is something that they need to get rid of immediately. That pissed me off when I realized that. Like, when it first was dropping, and it was dropping at level 10, I thought it was a mechanic, like, okay, you can get raid gear, but it's not going to be as powerful. Because I noticed that. I was getting level 10 raid gear from Hawthorne, from some of the powerful Ingrams, and I was like, okay, it's not powerful, but it's raid gear. So I can kind of see how, you want to get the super powered raid gear, but you'd at least, kind of get the shell. If you were just in a clan, even if you couldn't do it. I could see doing that. That is kind of okay. Turns out that was a bug, and you're supposed to be able to get raid gear from Hawthorne at the level 300, the super power, or, the high level gear, without having to do the raid. That is unacceptable to me. And that goes back and plays into the whole everybody gets the gear even if they don't do the activity shit. Or everybody gets that's shit handed to them. Yeah, and what makes it even worse is that to even get that gear unlocked for you, somebody else actually has to go through and still do that hard shit, and everybody else just gets a handout for it. Now, granted, in our clan, we all did the raid, but at the same time, I mean, think of how many clans are out there right now that are just doing the raid, just have people in there to fucking pad out their numbers, But all these people that aren't doing shit are getting essentially carried without being carried.
Yeah, so it's like plagiarism, in a way. Like you're taking someone else's work and then taking the reward.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like the definition of a handout. You just got to join a clan that's big. You know they're going to do the raid, so you're going to get guaranteed gear. It may be random, but you know you're going to get a piece of raid gear or a piece of trials gear, which I think is worse. I mean, I've never finished trials of anything, and when I do finally do it, it's going to be a fucking accomplishment. I fucking can't wait, and that's if I ever do it. And that's assuming I keep sticking playing Destiny. But if I ever do it, I know I have that gear, and it'll be an accomplishment. Even if they do it how they is now, to where, you know, even if you don't win everything, you can still get some tokens, and it may be a few, but after, you know, like 20, 30 lots or whatever, you might still have enough to buy, you know, like one piece of gear. That's fine with me. It's still a very slow grind to get that gear, so you put in the time and the work for it. Just getting the shit outright, that's... Hey. I don't... I find myself having to use the word casual for this. I mean, it's made for casuals. And I was never somebody that really got into that whole argument. I mean, there's games for people that play casually, and even the games that, you know, were more hardcore, you know, still had something that casuals could do. Like when I was playing Destiny 1, I started playing, I wasn't part of the clan. I wasn't part of a group. But there was still plenty for me to do, you know, casually before I joined the group and started doing the raids. Now anyone can just get in and just fucking do all the shit, and that's...
And then the hardcore players get nothing at the end.
Yeah, they get no bonus. In fact, the hardcore players get freaking essentially penalized for playing more. I mean, again, the whole fucking limit to 30 loot boxes when there was a freaking faction rally. I mean, that's still like the defining moment when I was like, fuck this game. You limited me on how much I can play and how much I can get. And even right now in PvP, unless they've changed it, and I'm 99% sure they haven't, there is no play mode where your level and gear gives you an advantage over players lower level than you. All of it's turned off. In Destiny 1, there were play modes when your level had an advantage. That's the whole point of going into PvP with strong gear, is to have an advantage on players. You earn your gear, you get that advantage. It is all turned off for Destiny 2. There is no advantage in PvP for having higher level gear. So you can essentially just find a piece of blue gear that's got shitty stats. That's why you see so many, or at least why I did when I was playing, I would see so many low level characters that were just demolishing high level characters. That should never be a thing. A level 2 character with like, you know, 20 fucking light should never be able to kill a character that has 305 light.
It doesn't make sense.
Also, Iron Banner was freaking terrible.
Oh yeah, I didn't even try to do Iron Banner. I think I played it once, maybe.
You could not win a single match unless you were squatted up. So when you tried solo play, you just got dick stomped. It was one of the most frustrating things I've ever dealt with. That's literally the last time I played this game was Iron Banner.
Right.
I think I remember that, how I kept doing that. Like, instead of grouping everybody up with solo players, they were just putting everybody up against teams.
And the thing is, there really is no, like, you can just do a team shot. So basically what you do is you have your whole team focus on one person and just shoot them. They don't even get the fire back. They're just dead. And you keep on doing this, and you'll win. It's literally, I can't even describe it, honestly. It's just not good at all.
I mean, that's really the nature of PvP, though. If we're playing right, we can do that in anything.
No, I know. But it was the mechanics of you know, and again, it's a new game and it's going to change, and there's going to be some things that but
hopefully.
There was just some pieces that PvP, especially Iron Banner, and they sort of I hated it.
My biggest gripes right now, besides all that stuff, I still say, before I even really think that they need my, or deserve my attention again, all of our shaders need to be reusable. Especially the ones that we get from doing raids and shit. They all need to be reusable. I don't mind having to get one, you know, having a grind to get one for each fucking piece. But I got weapons right now I can't get rid of, or don't want to get rid of, just because I've got a rare shader on them.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Now, what this game, Destiny 2, did for me, a good thing actually, it made me appreciate Destiny, the first game, more than I did before.
Yeah.
I could say that about Taken King because Rise of Iron pissed me off a little bit. I mean, it was alright, but it was essentially a copy-paste of Taken King, but with less stuff to do. I mean, part of the appeal of the Taken King was that there was so much stuff to do. There were so many, like, hidden areas. There was so much stuff that the community had to unlock and figure out on our own. There was stuff that only got released over time. There was stuff we had to find clues to. There were secret stuff and, freaking weekly events we had to figure. I mean, there was so much secret stuff, basically. And so much mystery to it. And it's like they tried to copy and paste that into Rise of Iron. And they completely failed when they did it.
Yeah, the Taken King is probably the best story we've gotten so far in Destiny.
No, yeah. Totally new freaking class of aliens. Whole new huge I think it's the biggest playmap on Destiny 1, isn't it? Or it was at the time anyway. Freaking biggest map. And they tried to recapture that with Rise of Iron and they just failed in it. I mean, even if it had been a copy paste and if they had done it right, it would have been fine. I would have been fine with that. It would have gotten maybe a 9 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10, but it still would have been fine. There's none of that in Destiny 2. I'm hoping they might do that for Curse of Osiris. They keep claiming it's easier to do all this shit with the new engine now. I think we're just gonna get a hollow fucking a hollow DLC, honestly. I think we're gonna get a raid. I think we're gonna get probably a new strike or two. We're gonna get some new gear, but there's gonna be nothing really unique about it.
I think they focus too much on putting other aspects into the game, like the social space and plans.
Yeah, social spaces that nobody cares about. And even what we did care about was the vendors. They still fucked that up, too. I mean, nobody really cares about the social space. When we're going to play soccer, nobody cares. We're playing Destiny to play Destiny. Unless there's a quest in the social space, there's not really much for me to do in there. I mean, it's not like an MMO to where your social space might actually have some kind of bearing on anything. There's really no bearing on it. Nobody cares about the social spaces, especially a social space where you can't really talk or recruit members. Now, if you could actually recruit members and there were servers for it, that'd be one thing, because that's what most social spaces are in other MMOs. Place you can talk to people, recruit, sell stuff, that kind of thing. There's no trading in Destiny or Destiny 2. There's no real... I mean, you can, message random people, but most of us just ignore random people that send us messages and stuff.
I do.
So social space really serves no point. I mean, honestly, if they just gave us... If they just... Yeah, no shit. If they just gave us a freaking option on the map where we can buy all our shit from the ship, I think people would end up using it before the social spaces 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Yes. How'd you know?
I mean, that's literally the only reason we go to social spaces is to just go turn in quests still. Which we weren't supposed to have to do, but we do have to do. Yeah. It's just in the open world we don't gotta do it.
Hear that?
I don't know, this game might be beyond saving for me. I'm hoping Anthem turns out to be alright. We'll see. Monster Hunter World I'm still excited for. Don't know too many other games. I'm still waiting for Bethesda to drop whatever their new IP is going to be. We were hoping it was going to drop last year. They would announce it. They haven't. The rumor is it's some space game that'll be kind of in the Elder Scrolls and Fallout style, so hopefully that'll be pretty awesome when they announce it soon, but we'll see. I'm getting tired of them re-releasing Skyrim on everything. Just make the next fucking Elder Scrolls. Other than that, I can't really think of too much more I'm looking forward as far as gaming goes. Can't think of too much more that's happened recently either.
I'm looking forward to Escape from Tarkov being a real game.
What's that one?
Russian, whatever, but it looks awesome. It's Russian. They've been developing it for 2 years, but it's a escape from a town kind of thing. But it's just there's a multiplayer and I think single player and co-op and stuff, but it's just looks really, really good.
Well, I'll keep a lookout for that one.
It's in beta now. I think it's in beta now. I don't think it was an early access game. I think it was like closed alpha, closed beta, but could be wrong.
Now, do you want to talk about the horror genre of games? That next topic?
We can probably do that for next week. We've been going for 2 hours now, and I don't want to run out of stuff to talk about next time. I think we did pretty good this one. But yeah, let's go ahead and get some ideas for next week. I mean, I'm going to keep track of what's going on with Battlefront 2. I keep track of what's going on with the loot box and everything. I'm still planning on doing my videos on Sunday, so make sure you're sharing those whenever you can, or whatever you can. We need to try and get more subscribers on the channel. But I mean, I'm going to keep track of what's going on, all this Belgian investigation. It'll probably take fucking forever, but I keep track of it too. And keep track of some more other gaming news too. I used to do videos on just random stuff that people weren't talking about that I thought had a potential for big news. I'll see what I can dig up, but yeah, we can make a we can make horror the main topic for next week. And I'm planning on doing these every Friday, by the way.
Alright.
So that is currently the plan. So probably about the same time. We'll see how everyone's schedule is. I know we all got different schedules, but as of right now, 9 p.m. Central on Friday is when I'm planning on doing the podcast.
Are you ready?
Alright, sweet.
And then if possible next week, I want to try and do it on Discord, and I want to actually try to get our stuff up on a podcast hosting site, but we'll see how all this goes. Big plans, big plans. We'll see how they work.
Stay sharp.
But, alright, I guess next week horror is the genre. We'll see what's coming up in horror gaming. We will continue with the microtransaction controversies all across the board. Any final thoughts, you guys? Dash?
Nope. That's it.
Pelly? Bet 5 his mic's off. He doesn't realize it.
Oh, is it off? Yeah, it's just
Yep.
I'm coughing. See, I want to feel better next week. So hopefully I'll feel better, contribute a little bit more. But
Yeah, hopefully everyone's getting sick. I don't want to get sick. I don't need that.
yeah, I fought it off for a couple weeks, but literally everyone in my office and my kid, everyone got sick, so I was kind of screwed. It's inevitable.
Well, final thoughts for me. I'd say fuck loot boxes and Destiny 2, get your shit in order. And EA, if you put loot boxes in Anthem, you can go to hell, and you can go to hell and you die. Yeah, eloquent words. I think I got it. Thank you guys for coming by, and we're going to go ahead and end the first live stream. Congratulations, guys. Good stuff.